Probably for the last well over 100 years, maybe 150 years, the normal practice has been for students to come to a university and to be lectured to by supposedly eminent staff member who will talk to them for maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, it used to be at one stage, a week. And then they would be divided up into small little groups for some kind of discussion about readings and things like this. This kind of approach to teaching has a whole series of different drawbacks, even though it might be the one that many academic staff are most familiar with. Students aren't, because students come from schools and they don't have school teachers lecturing them, I don't think, for 2 or 3 hours a day before they have discussions. So it's an unfamiliar format, and it's not even necessarily one that has been properly tested as to how effective it is versus other alternatives. Now, those other alternatives have become more obvious in recent years simply because the technology has advanced to such an extent that it's now possible to do things that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would never have thought was possible. So we don't need to have lectures any longer. And we know from experience that the vast majority of students, when they know that they can get an alternative to lectures on a website, whether that's a clip of the lecture that they missed for some reason, or whether it's the readings or the notes from a lecture that the lecturer puts up, that they will take those, look at them in their own time, and not go to the lecture. Students are very different today as well, because most of them have very busy lives. They may call themselves full-time students, but the majority are actually working. They're not really full-time students, and their hours are very irregular. So the idea that you can set aside 8 to 5 every day as a time when that students are going to be available is virtually impossible. So with that technology, we've been able to explore different ways in which we can now teach students. And we know for a fact that people learn better when they are actually engaged with the learning process. We've now developed lecture theatres. We have a number on this campus, which have been specifically designed to enable a lecturer to stop in the middle of a lecture and say, okay, turn around to the person behind you or to a group of people behind you and have a discussion on this topic. So we can change the lecture format in some respects, and we've been doing this. Or we can have more of this sort of blended learning where we don't bother with the lecture at all. So we say to a lecturer, don't talk for an hour, but do little 15-minute vignettes, short snippets on different topics that you would be covering. So they become kind of a library that's available to students over the duration of their subject. In addition, you can still put up lecture notes if you want to, or you can put up readings that they should do and so forth. But then when you do meet the students, it's for what we sometimes refer to as a lectorial. And it will be a 2-hour lectorial. But so now we've got these rooms in the university which we call technology enhanced active learning spaces, TEAL. And these rooms can hold anywhere from 70 to 90 students, and if you go into them, they have big round seats that seat maybe 7 or 9 students, and there might be 10 of these. Each of them have got their own screens on them and computers, and the students will sit in those groups and discuss a certain problem. So they're working as a group, and then you've got 7 or 9 groups in a room, all working on these particular problem that has been set, and they write their responses up on their screen, and then each of them has the chance to speak to their particular solution, and everyone in the room can see it because it immediately goes up onto big screens around the room. And then they might have a kind of plenary session where they all have the opportunity to speak. So it's active learning. And it's called lectorial because it might begin with the lecturer saying, you know, you will have all read the materials that are online for this week and watched the vignettes. I'll just give you a very quick 2-minute summary of what the important points are before we move to this more active type of learning process.